Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Joe Joyce, Derek Chisora confirmed for July the 27th in London. This is pretty much as big a clash as Derek Chisora can get at this point, and for Joe Joyce, he's looking to make his way back to the world level. So this looks like an appropriate stepping stone and a bit of a litmus test to see where Joyce is really at. As we know, he's coming off a couple of soul-crushing defeats at the hands of Zhang. Joyce was riding high not so long ago. Wins over Daniel Dubois, Carlos Takam, first guy to stop Joseph Parker, and then he was crunched by Zhang twice in a row. At that stage, the first time they met, he gave him the opportunity. He held the WBO interim title, waiting for a title shot, and obviously things came a cropper. So now we have Joyce on the way back up, or at least trying to go on the way back up. And certainly he's got his doubters. Some people think that Zhang really sort of either cracked the chin or has basically taken something from him. And remembering, he is, closer to 40 these days, 38 years old. So too Chisora, pretty long in the tooth these days. Chisora, a long career, a grizzled veteran of the heavyweight division who's fought a who's who of the heavyweight division, not just recent years, but over more than a decade now. So you have Chisora, and I have to say, this fight feels very 2018. You may recall those who were following Joyce's early career when he was with David Hale, that sort of stuff. They were calling Chisora out, and at that point, you had Chisora basically saying, nah, not interested unless you pay £5 million. I'm sure he's getting nothing close to that for this fight. Let's face it, Chisora has pretty much exhausted all the domestic options, except maybe the likes of Daniel Dubois and some of the guys below, like Fabio Wardley, Fraser Clark, for example. Obviously hasn't fought Anthony Joshua, but he's fought a who's who of pretty much everyone else over a significant period of time, until recently was on pay-per-view. So you have this fight here. I mean, it's a good litmus test for all sorts of reasons for both guys. I think for many of us, we think that Chisora is done, that he's washed, but Joe Joyce has no defense. So this could be a fight where the styles mesh, and you have a case where Chisora is just absolutely letting his big right hands looping shots go and fighting the target. Whether he has a lot of success in actually hurting and denting the juggernaut Joe Joyce, that's another story. And also, Joe Joyce is a guy that has been hurt previously to the body, and you have Derek Chisora, who can really deal some punishment to the body. And I saw just in a little training video, Derek Chisora's got his longtime mate and previous sparring partner of a number of occasions over from the United States, Bryant Jennings. Jennings was the first guy to really touch Joyce to the body and make an impact. Who can forget that? That was one of Joyce's first big step-up fights. So he's also got a win over Bryant Jennings. So I don't care what you say about Joe Joyce. He's had a pretty good career so far. Jennings, Dubois, Joseph Parker, Carlos Takam, although Jennings and Takam somewhat faded, but Parker and Dubois, they've since gone on to have big wins in their career. So Joyce has done okay, and I think he's probably a bit better than some people are giving him credit for. But a lot of that is tied up in his durability. And after the Zhang fights, we didn't see from his comeback fight, it was a tune-up. This is significantly more than that, but it still is in one of those, it's a higher level, stay busy. And as you have Frank Warren saying, this is a proper old-school heavyweight fight that seems to have been a long time in the making. I remember it being talked about strongly even before we teamed up with Joe. It was always struck me as a natural and obvious fight to make. Well, I think that's true, but I think one of the things is, Chisora's really got nowhere else to go. Who was going to fight for any real money? It had to be someone like a Joe Joyce or a Daniel Dubois, and Dubois is currently obviously in Saudi getting paid a lot of money. If you lose, maybe you drop down back to a high-level domestic at the moment, and if you win, you stay on in the Saudi cards. Joyce knows what the score is. Put in a good performance here, batter Derek Chisora, stop him, look good in the process, and then he can go back to the top table. That's effectively the equation. For Derek Chisora, if he somehow got through Joyce, that just prolongs his career even further. He's talked about, only having a couple more fights left in him, but if he keeps winning and he keeps getting the paydays, he'll stick around. But I do think it has been very obviously diminishing returns with Chisora in recent times. So I think that Chisora is going to take some punishment. He'll get some licks away, and sure, Joyce will take some shots, but I think he'll absorb it. He'll walk through. He'll go juggernaut mode and basically grind him into the dust. Also, another comment here from Frank Warren. 2 top London heavies fighting it out for a place back at the top table promises to deliver a cracking scrap. The winner is right back in business with no real place to go for the loser. Well, I think never a truer statement has been spoken. I mean, if Joyce was to lose this one to a very faded Chisora at this point, it's basically time to hang it up. I don't think he will, though. I think he's going to go in here and do what Joe Joyce does. I mean, there's certain fighters in the heavyweight division, for all their flaws, they are effective. And against certain opponents, Joe Joyce is an effective fighter. And I think we'll see that again against Derek Chisora. Sure, he'll take some punishment. He's going to wear some shots on the chin and probably also some to the body as well. But I think he will go in there and get the win. What do you make of this fight? What do you make of Derek Chisora and Joe Joyce? They're calling this one go big or go home. Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.